Hey guys, it's Bro You Whack. If you've been playing more of Rivals, then you wouldn't know that Season 14 dropped for Overwatch 2, which includes the brand new hero Hazard, along with a bunch of tank changes, support changes, and every DPS hero getting changed. So today we're going to go over all of the hero changes, but if you haven't seen the Season 14 Battle Pass or all of the shop skins, then peep my 2 videos out that I posted yesterday. But let's get on with the changes. So right away, let's start with the tank changes, which includes a Doomfist, Mauga, Orisa, Ramattra, Winston, and the previously mentioned Hazard. So beginning with Doomfist, this is just where the question marks start to appear because Doomfist is getting nerfed, specifically to his Seismic Slam ability. The shockwave range is getting reduced from 18 meters to 15 meters, and the cooldown is getting increased by half a second. Now, I'm a Platinum Doomfist hater, but even I can see that I don't think he necessarily needed a nerf. Mauga is also getting nerfed, but this is somebody who actually deserved it because he's actually really good right now. But all they're doing is allocating armor to his health. They're going to be decreasing his armor from 200 to 150, but increasing his base health from 375 to 425. So just taking 50 points from the armor to the base health. Orisa is getting buffed, I guess. Now, they're going to be doing the same thing to her health, but backwards, allocating base health to her armor. They're going to be increasing her armor from 300 to 325 and decreasing her base health from 375 to 150, just allocating 25 points from the health to the armor. But the difference between Mauga and Orisa is that they're also going to be buffing her Terror Surge ultimate ability pull radius, increasing it from 8.5 meters to 10.5 meters. Oh man. Alright, so moving on to Ramattra's buff. This is actually sensible here, where they're going to be buffing his Ravenous Vortex ability. Now whenever you throw it, it's going to briefly interrupt horizontal movements. Think of like Juno's movement speed ability. And the slow effect is also going to apply to anyone within the vortex radius, even if there's a shield in front of you. So it's going to be a full AoE ability. Winston is getting a buff. Now, what are they doing to the scientist here? Well, they're increasing his jetpack damage from 50 total damage to 60. Okay, but getting a whole Bible's worth of changes is gonna be Hazard. This is kind of a give me here with every new hero getting changes, but going through all the changes, starting with his Bone Spur, they're gonna be increasing the total damage per spike from 6.75 to 7.5, and each volley is no longer gonna be a random spread like a Reaper shotgun. It's gonna be consistent every single time. His Spike Guard ability is getting a buff and a nerf where the angle of protection got increased from 104 degrees of protection to now 180 degrees of protection. So basically everything in front of you is protected, everything behind you is not protected. However, they are going to be decreasing the overall damage per second from 75 to 70. That's a pretty light nerf for how powerful Spike Guard is. His Violent Leap ability is getting a slight nerf where they're going to be increasing the recovery time after you slash from 0.3 seconds to now 0.5 seconds of recovery time. The Jet Wall is getting some great changes where the health is getting increased from 350 to 400, so an extra 50 health, and the knockback damage is getting 10 extra damage, getting increased from 40 to 50. However, the damage at which you actually get poked by the wall, the intervals is getting increased from 1.5 seconds to now only receiving damage every 1.75 seconds. You're not going to be moving as slow whenever you're casting Downpour because the airborne momentum lost by casting Downpour is now getting reduced from 90% to 50%. And the final Hazard change before we move on to the DPS changes are going to be for his Volt passive ability, where now to be able to scale a wall, now the minimum height is going to be 1.25 meters. Alright, that was a lot of tank changes, but now moving on to the DPS heroes that are getting changed, which includes technically all of them because the damage roll passive is getting a massive buff. Or at least on paper, because whenever a damage hero does, well, damage to an enemy, that debuff is going to be increased from 2 seconds to now 3 seconds. And that said debuff is the healing reduction that target receives, but that's also going to be increased from 20% healing loss to now 25% healing loss. But this is all to compensate for the smaller bullets that not only damage heroes are going to be having, but also all of the heroes in Overwatch. You can see on the screen here that the meters are going to be shrinking. Now, on paper, this might not seem like a lot, but in execution, especially for heroes like a Pharah that has a huge rocket, this is a huge nerf. But that was the general DPS hero changes. Getting into the specific DPS heroes that got changed, this is going to include Ashe, Pharah, Soldier 76, Sojourn, Symmetra, Torbjorn, and our favorite archaeologist, Venture. A lot of these are just one and done changes, which starts off with Ashe and her coach gun, where whenever you're immobilized by a target, you can still use your coach gun, you just won't be able to be mobile with that coach gun. So let's say you're stuck in a Junkrat trap, you can push that Junkrat back, you yourself just won't be pushed back as Ashe. Pharah and her Jet Dash ability is getting a cooldown increase from 8 seconds to 9 seconds. like I said, these are very quick one and done changes. Sojourn, in my opinion, is getting a massive buff to her railgun secondary fire, where they're going to be increasing the damage scaling. Previously, it would go from 1 to 100, but now it's going to be going from 20 to 120. So let's say you only have one charge in your railgun, that's going to be doing a minimum of 20 damage. But if you go all the way to 100% charge, you're going to be doing a minimum of 120 damage. Soldier 76 Biotic Field is getting a huge buff, actually, where they're just reducing the cooldown from 18 seconds to now 15 seconds. Symmetra, in my opinion, is getting the most random buff in these patch notes, and it's not even to her, but to her teleporter, where they're increasing the base shield health from 200 to 250. Okay. Torbjorn is getting 2 changes to his deployed turret and his forged hammer, which I think is really funny. But the deployed turret, the build time is getting decreased by half a second. Previously, it was at 3 seconds. Now it's at 2.5 seconds. And the base health is also getting an extra 25 base health, increasing it from 225 to 250. But they're increasing the damage to his forged hammer from 55 damage to 70 damage. And if you're wondering why they're doing this, because this does seem random, it's because they forgot to do this when they increased all of the heroes' health a long time ago. And the final DPS hero getting changed is Venture to their Drill Dash ability. And I really like this change here because to activate the faster cooldown rate, you actually have to be burrowed underground. But now, as long as you activate the burrow ability, the cooldown rate will just start to be faster even if you're not underground. So like, let's take Petra for an example. If you're coming from the top of the mountains drilling down, now the regenerative rate is going to start as soon as you activate it, not when you hit that ground. Now those are all the DPS heroes that were changed onto support characters, which includes Baptiste, Brigitte, Illari, Lucio, and that's actually it, just 4 of those characters. Baptiste is receiving a buff to his regenerative burst. Okay, whatever. The cooldown is getting decreased from 15 seconds to 14 seconds, and the radius is getting increased from 10 seconds to 12 seconds. Brigitte is getting a small but still powerful nerf to her Inspire passive ability, where the duration is getting reduced from 5 seconds to now 4 seconds of active time. The explosion radius of Illari's Captive Sun ultimate ability is going to increase by 2 meters. Previously, it was at 8 meters. Now it's going to be at 10, so that if you have terrible aim with her ult like me, you won't miss that bad. And the final hero getting changed to Season 14 is Lucio. Some pretty fun changes here, actually, where the sound barrier, now whenever you activate it, you will fall faster through mid-flight, so they can really drop the base. And then finally, the crossfade self-healing penalty is getting decreased from 60% to now 40%, so you read it, Lucios can start switching between songs without having to worry about not healing yourself that much anymore. Now those were all of the Season 14 hero changes, and a lot of questionable changes, especially for heroes like Doomfist and Orisa. And I'm kind of surprised that we didn't see Juno or a Widowmaker nerf and heroes like that a lot of people have been questioning about. But hey, that's a big reason why a lot of people are going to Marvel Rivals. But let me know what you think about all of these hero changes, and let me know what you think about Season 14 as a whole, with like Hazard and the cosmetics and everything that came out yesterday. And if you haven't seen the Battle Pass or any of the shop skins, again, go check out those 2 videos that I uploaded yesterday. But until the next time, I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. More Overwatch 2 videos to come, and bye.